I like to know where people stand so I know how to treat you accordingly.
They be trying to do it, I'm just doing me. I be working hard and they just want it free.
Be competitive with yourself.
Hey, what's going on? It's Jsean for another video. This one hopefully is going to be a little quicker than usual. I'm going to try to get to the point as quick as possible. So with this being said, this video is catered to people who are like me on my level. Obviously, if you're more advanced, you're more familiar with certain things or this situation, you're going to think that I'm talking super noobish, and that's because I am super noobish in this particular department or in this particular scenario, right? So for me, it's about concealed carry, right? Now, for me particularly, I'm not unfamiliar with firearms. I grew up around it a little bit. I'm not no professional Rambo type, but I'm familiar with it, right? I'm not familiar with all aspects of it. I'm not familiar with concealing it. I'm not familiar with open carrying it. I'm not familiar in that regard. Target range, maybe some slight hunting type of scenarios, that type of stuff like that. I don't have no experience in what I'm talking about right now. So with this being said, it's new for me, and I know a lot of people, when you talk to people, they give certain advice. They'll say you need larger magazines, for example, larger capacity magazines. You need something that can do this, something that can do that, whatever. What I learned in my personal experience, right, in my personal journey, and again, I'm not a complete newbie, but I am noobish in this particular, well, in general, I'm kind of noobish. I'm not like high level of anything, but in general, as far as concealing, that is new for me, right? But I've been doing it long enough now where I'm way more comfortable. It feels normal to me. I don't have any weird issues or anything that I've experienced thus far. So I just want to share my particular experience based on if maybe you're like me and you just started and people try to give you advice. I want to just share that what everybody says to you makes sense. It could make sense in a certain scenario, but for certain people, it's not for everybody, right? It's all what you feel comfortable with. It doesn't matter if it's the best gun in the world of any kind. It doesn't matter if it has the largest capacity. If you don't feel comfortable handling that firearm, especially in a certain circumstance, it'll do no good to you. It does not matter, right? So for me, particularly in my scenario, in my home area, it's not common that people open carry or even really conceal carry too much, right? People do conceal, but it's not like a known thing. You know, it's not like one of them states where you can just be 18 years old and open carry. It's not like that. You need to have a business, or you need to have some type of, you're law enforcement or something like that. So it's to a point where if somebody sees you, even if you're legally allowed to open carry, they're gonna get nervous. And I'm the type of person, when people around me get nervous, it makes me nervous, and I gotta pay extra attention because people do crazy and stupid things when they're nervous, right? So my journey with this is that I have a few handguns, right? But the ones that I would only maybe entertain actually concealing would be the 43X. I have two of them. One of them is MOS version, one of them is not. I have a 19 Gen 5 MOS version, and I have a Walther PDP sitting in front of me that also has the optics on it that is similar to the size of the 19, right? Those are the only ones out of my particular handguns that I would ever consider concealing. So in my area, and I hate to say this, but you know, everybody has to do what's comfortable for them. And this is what I'm saying. Everybody's different. It's not one rule that's going to apply to everybody. It doesn't matter if one of these shoot better and has more capacity or whatever the case is, whether you buy aftermarket magazine or cane factory, whatever the case is. If I'm not comfortable in all aspects of it, it's not going to do me any good in a real situation. If I'm not even comfortable without a situation happening, imagine something really happening and how you might lose your shit and something goes wrong and you do something careless or you're not comfortable for whatever the reason. So for me, I didn't care what people said. I didn't care if somebody thought what I'm carrying is like, you know, like soft or, you know, not man enough, or I really don't care, because for me, at the end of the day, this whole time in my entire life, I never had the license to conceal. So it's just like, you know, I'm not stupid. So when certain circumstances come about, I know how to maneuver those circumstances, right? And I did it always without having something on me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like now that I have that ability legally, I feel like something is literally better than nothing. Now, if there was a real situation and it was some crazy shootout of some kind and you're trying to defend yourself, of course you're going to want more than a 10 capacity magazine. Of course you're going to want this and that and whatever. But in real life, you know, you got to kind of take the pros and the cons. I'm going to give you this quick weird example. I used to do real heavy in media, like photography and video work. I used to do contracts where I would be in the middle of the city. I would have big old tripod, big old camera with the battery grip, full frame, big L lenses, all that, right? Super heavy, it looks good, looks professional. In an ideal situation, it is the perfect camera setup. Walking around in the street, in the city with people walking by and I'm carrying this all in my arms, it is not the ideal situation. It actually hurt me more to be overpacked, to be over like prepared in a sense, right? I needed to cut back. It all depends on your scenario and your circumstances. So in that particular situation, even though it was the best camera setup I could have had at the time, it wasn't the best setup for the job that I was doing, for the environment that I was in, for how I was having to maneuver all that gear. So I look at it the same way when I'm trying to protect myself and I'm concealing, right? So again, so this is what I carry. I'm going to show you what I carry because there's another thing that bothered me in the very beginning. So where I'm from, and I dress differently. I can just casual. I know how to wear a suit. I wear sweatpants like this. I wear jewelry, a lot of jewelry, no jewelry, light jewelry, scully on my head, braids on my hair, fitted hat, whatever. So certain people, and it doesn't matter if I think it's right or wrong. I know that they're stereotyping me, right? And the last thing I want to do, like I said earlier, is I don't want to feel uncomfortable, because if I feel uncomfortable, if I notice that they're uncomfortable, it doesn't matter if I think it's fair. If I can tell that they're uncomfortable with me for whatever the reason, without a firearm, and if they see me and they see the firearm poking out or I'm open carrying it, it's going to make them real nervous because they're not used to seeing, it's not an open carry state. So it's not something where people are just going to think, oh, he just, has a firearm. They're going to judge me. You know what I'm saying? And then they're going to do something stupid. They're going to put me in a situation where I don't want to be in, etc., and having to explain myself, all these other things. And to be honest with you, I see a lot of videos on YouTube where a lot of the law enforcement don't even know half the laws when it comes to, our rights as far as carrying or not carrying or whatever. So I'd rather just avoid that if possible. And in a real scenario, I don't think you want to necessarily open carry if you don't have to, or if you have a license, because at the end of the day, if there's a real scenario, you'd be the first person they're going to try to eliminate because you're a threat at that point. And at the end of the day, like I said, I don't want to feel uncomfortable. So I'm gonna explain everything as I go along. I'm kind of freestyling this video a little bit, but so I'm wearing sweatpants now. These are pretty fitted sweatpants. Excuse the mess again. When I say fitted, they're like pretty tight on my legs, like kind of fitted feeling, right? Not skinny sweats, or I don't know what you gonna call it, right? My jeans fit the same way. When I told you about what I'm worried or concerned about, when I first ever concealed carried, I was nervous, very nervous. And I told you it's because I felt like people could see it. And I'm gonna tell you right now. So I have a sweatshirt on. So let me act like I don't have the sweatshirt on. I'm just gonna lift this up. Now, you can see my clip, right? For sure. But in general, I'm not trying to show it. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just like wearing the shirt like normal. Sometimes if I lift up like this, you might see it. If I'm grabbing something off the aisle, whatever. But in general, it's just hanging here. And usually my t-shirts are pretty fitted too. So it hugs pretty tight. But I'm going to show you. If you see me turning, you can see something here, right? But it doesn't stick out to the point where somebody will know it's a firearm. And I'm telling you, so for me in the very beginning, I was a bit nervous. So even if I go like this, honestly, some people are going to think it's a phone. They're not really going to pay attention to it. It's not really that obvious because you can't see the barrel and everything where it looks like the shape of a gun. So I don't care if I have the largest handgun and it's bulking out super big. I'm legally allowed to carry it. I don't really care about what other people think as far as that. But at the end of the day, that was my stage one, needing to be comfortable, wanting to feel comfortable. So this is what I choose to wear. Another thing is where it's located, it kind of hits not my private area, but it kind of hits like on the side here, right? So I can sit, I can do whatever. The only time it kind of bulges in here a little bit in my waist is because I'm sitting down, maybe I'm eating or I'm driving, so it's kind of pushing into my stomach a little bit, but it's compact. So for example, this is a 19. This is the one with the MOS. This does not have a factory magazine. It is a factory magazine, but it's not what came with it. This is a 15 capacity. This adds more weight than your standard 10 round that comes where I live at. Here's a 43. This does not have a magazine currently. This non-MOS, very lightweight, compact. And then you got, this is the Walther PDP. This also comes with factory 15, adds more weight. This right here has the optic on it. This here is similar to the size of a 19. The one that I hate this case, by the way. This one, the way they cut this, it needs to cut higher up because my thumb hits this. It's too high, as you can see. It doesn't fit the curve here. I don't like this at all. I don't know. And I don't like this bolt, this sharp bend. I need to cut that or something. somehow. It's not very comfortable to wear. It's one of my favorites, but I would never carry that. So with this one, it's very compact. It's the same thing, but it's the MOS version, and it's only a 10 capacity, right? Now, or 10 plus 1. The thing of it is, with the 10 round capacity, a lot of people, I mean, I think you can change it, and you can make it a 15 in here. I don't know if it's a Glock brand, but I think you can do it for sure. A lot of people talk about it. I look at it like this. My entire life, I never was legally allowed to conceal or open carry. I was good this entire part of my life. Now, me having 9, 10, 5, it doesn't matter. It's better than before I had 0. So I look at it like it puts me in an advantage that for me, right? It's not better than these other ones because they have larger magazines. Maybe they'll shoot better. Whatever the case is, it doesn't matter. Me having 1 is better than what I've always had. So I look at that as an advantage for me in my circumstances, right? I don't care what other people say and what's better because it don't fit everybody. Again, you got to feel comfortable in what you're carrying. If you don't feel comfortable in what you're carrying and nothing happened yet, imagine something really happening, you freaking out, and you really are uncomfortable. So with me, I'm choosing baby steps. Along the way, if I want to carry something crazy, maybe I will. But at this point, I'm not doing it. I'm doing what's comfortable for me because at the end of the day, it's not about showing off. It's not about looking cool. It's not about any of that. To me, it's about what I feel comfortable with to be able to protect myself in a certain situation. So with that being said, I don't want it to be shown. I don't want it to be obvious. I want it to be compact as possible. I want it to be easy to maneuver. I want it to be easy to wear, conceal, no matter what kind of clothes I'm wearing, because I done wore super fitted jeans, everything, and I can wear it just fine. So my particular circumstances and what I want from it, I feel like it makes a lot of sense. Now, will I ever get a larger capacity magazine? It's possible, you know, but at this point, I'm really okay with how it is. I do carry an extra magazine. I don't carry it actually on me, but I always have it available close by, if that makes sense, right? The other thing is, what else do I want to say? This is a smaller compact, right? To somebody who's like twice my weight, twice my height, they're going to potentially think it's way too small. Right? That means they won't feel comfortable because it's too small in their hand. It's too tiny for whatever the reason. Then I wouldn't recommend this. I would recommend them going with something mid to larger size, and it's fine too. Maybe larger magazine capacity, whatever feels comfortable for them. Maybe a female would want to carry one of these other ones because it's not comfortable. So maybe they want something compact for different reasons than why I want it compact. So for me, I just feel more comfortable that way. So I'm gonna tell you something else that everybody tells you to do, because they're right. In a circumstance, in a real life circumstance, it doesn't make sense for you to carry without having one in the chamber ready to go, right? But I'm gonna tell you something. Personally, I don't play at all when it comes to firearms. I don't think it's any type of joke, any type of anything, right? I get nervous, which is a good thing because that means I'm paying attention. It means I care. I'm not nervous where I'm like, can't control myself. I'm just nervous to a point where I'm taking extra cautious steps. I'm thinking all the time when I pull this out. Even instructors, like firearm instructors or course instructors have accidents, right? And they're trained for this for real. I'm not trained for it in the way they are, but it's just like I'm so cautious of this being something that can hurt myself, hurt somebody else by accident, on purpose, that I pay attention to everything, right? And I'm glad I'm like that. I'm like this with everything in my life, and I'm glad I can apply that to even something like this. I don't think it's a joke. I'm not going to play around. I think of every possible like Final Destination type of scenario of me pulling it and dropping it on the ground and then firing, discharging. I think about all those crazy scenarios, right? So with that being said, some people don't like carrying it in the front because it's near, you know, their jewels and stuff like that, and they don't want to accidentally do something crazy. This is why I think it's crazy when people don't even have it in a holster and they put it in their pocket or something crazy. Because I'm like, you know how easy it is for you to accidentally discharge that, and then people come behind you and steal it out your pocket and all that kind of crazy stuff. So in the very beginning, I didn't even have one in the chamber on purpose. I did it not because, I mean, if there was a real scenario, it would be too late for me to, you know, have it ready to go. But at the end of the day, that's just what it would have been, because I don't think mentally I was ready in general. You know, despite taking courses, it's just a little different. In a course, you learn how to shoot, you learn how to handle things and all these safety precautions, but it's different. It's like learning how to drive before you actually went behind a wheel. So learning how to conceal and the safety things behind is different than actually going in public, to me at least, carrying it on you in real life, right? Just like it'll be different no matter how much I train for something to actually happen in real life and me to be prepared. You're gonna be nervous, you might be whatever, right? Unless you went through this so many times in your life to where it's normal, but it's not normal for me. So for the longest time, I didn't even have it, the one in the chamber. I didn't. I was like nervous. I was so nervous that I felt like it was live, ready to go. Anything might happen type of nonsense. But if you're going to be like that and you're always going to be like that, then you probably shouldn't carry one on you, because then you might be a liability to somebody else, somebody who's innocent, or even to yourself, and you didn't even mean to do something. So I just took it in gradual steps. The first step for me was feeling comfortable with just having it on. The first step with me was just feeling like not caring about people can notice it, or me just feeling comfortable and how it feels on me. I'm really comfortable with this weight for my body size and my body weight, my height. It just feels comfortable in my purposes and me wanting to wear a certain type of attire and how it fits me and how it kind of conceals along with my lifestyle, right? I mean, the only thing I might do later, I might just add a larger magazine. Other than that, I'm cool. I'm cool with this. It shoots decent for me, decent enough, etc. This is not some like long range rifle. I'm trying to hit a target from X amount of miles away or something crazy. It serves the purpose for what I want. Everybody's wants and needs are going to be different. So think about what your wants and your comfortability is, and you follow that, and you make the judgment, and you do what's best for you at the end of the day. Just like I'm doing what's best for me. I don't care what somebody says. I'll listen to you. I'll take heed of what you're saying, and I'll understand what you're saying, but it's still, and maybe I'll apply it if it makes sense. But as of right now, this is what makes sense for me. I'm very comfortable with this, right? So now, obviously, I always have it ready to go. Even when I first did that, I was kind of nervous. I was still nervous because I'm thinking, damn, I might, blow my shit off down here because it's pointing near my front area. You know what I mean? So, but it was nervous because it makes me aware. I'm cautious of it, which is good for me. Like I said, not nervous where I'm like shaking. I'm nervous like where I'm paying attention. So I don't play around. I don't do certain things that would jeopardize my safety and especially others. So I'm the type of person, like, how people play with the lions and they're at the zoo, even though they have a cage. I don't play with that. I think in my head, like, what if something happens where a cage opens up? Anything. It could happen. It shouldn't, but it might. I don't even play with stuff like that where I could die or hurt myself, and I knew I shouldn't have did it. You know what I'm saying? I stay back while everybody playing with it and getting close. I stay back over here and mind my business. That's the kind of person I am in general, right? So I know I talked a lot. Dang, I've been talking 30 minutes. I'm trying to keep everything 10 minutes, but I can't help it. It just feels like there's so much to say. I need to cut this down. But anyway, that's pretty much my journey so far. I'm very comfortable with what I have. I'm very comfortable. Actually, it ain't 30 minutes because I've cut this many times. But I'm very comfortable with what I have. This is what's comfortable for me. Figure out what's comfortable for you. First, go to the range. Figure out which one feels good in your hand, what you feel comfortable with, because you're the one that's going to be shooting it. You're the one that's going to be carrying it. What I would suggest, this is what I did, start carrying it, concealing it in your own home. Carry it, walk around, see how it feels. Then slowly, gradually start going out with it. Even if you don't want to put a magazine in, if you're very uncomfortable with yourself, don't take chances. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Just worry about what you're doing and how you feel. Because at the end of the day, you have it concealed on you, on your body, on your person, for you. That's all it's for. Don't worry about nobody else, none of that. So I'm gonna stop talking right now because I don't really know how long this video actually is, and I'm really trying to cut back a lot of the talking I'm doing because I know I can just go on forever. So with that being said, make sure you do everything at your top level, and remember, you're no competition with anybody except yourself. So make sure your next move is your best move, at least your better move. Till next time, later.